honestly don't care. I just want Democrats to stop acting like they are on this moral high ground politically when they have shown us they're not. You know, whether it's skipping the primary process when Biden stepped down and things like Biden pardoning his son. Stop acting like y'all the pure party and Republicans aren't. And it also shows me elected officials can do whatever they want as long as they have the political will and courage to do it.
Based. Cenk, back to you.
As usual, I agree with my brother Charlamagne. So it's one thing to do the wrong thing. It's another thing to be self-righteous about it. And that's what's really annoying and gets under people's skin, right? So Joe Biden said 1,000 times, no one's above the law. No one's above the law. And then on his way out, after he loses the election, or his party does, he's like, well, no one other than my family members. We're obviously above the law, you know what I'm saying? It's because they didn't expect to lose the election. And he was saying no one's above the law as a political gimmick against Donald Trump. Never meant it in the first place. Whoopi's not telling the truth. We showed her clip earlier in the show where she says, well, Joe Biden has good intent. How the hell do you know that? Doesn't look like he has good intent at all. And what Charlamagne is doing and why we love it is because he's now broken out of the mainstream media. He's in radio originally, right? It's core part of mainstream media, but he's breaking the mold and say, I'm done with this, right? So you keep telling us they have great intent and they're going to keep on delivering, and all I ever see them is deliver for themselves.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about Leonard McKelvey, aka Charlamagne the Devil, and the cackling hands on The View, okay? Because Charlamagne has been going off on the Democrat Party and the hypocrisy of them claiming that they are above the law, taking the moral high ground, but yet Joe Biden showed us that that was not the case, okay? When he decided to pardon Hunter Biden, despite the fact that he promised to the American people he would not do that, because the Democrat Party, they're supposed to be morally superior to Republicans and Trump, right? That is the only selling point that the Democrats have, okay? And there are some people who just don't get it, right? They just do not understand that, yes, Democrats have to be better than Hitler, right? Again, this is what they were campaigning on, okay? Why does Kamala Harris have to be better than Hitler, right? First and foremost, Trump is not Hitler, but my point is that that is the argument they were making, because they were framing Trump as Hitler, and then they got mad when people said, okay, well, we want the Democrats to be better than Hitler if you want me to vote for you. And again, Democrats were upset by that, right? They're upset by this idea that they have to be held to the same standards that they want to hold everybody else to, right? And that is what Charlamagne is calling out Joe Biden on. The fact that, hey, you guys aren't living up to these standards, so why even say that you have these standards? Just stop acting like you're above everybody else and just, you know, be real, right? Be upfront that, hey, you're not better than the Republicans. You're not morally superior to Trump. You're corrupt, okay? You're corrupt, and just be honest, okay? So The View, they're going to get triggered by Charlamagne saying this, and I want to react to it because it's hilarious. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I think all of the criticism is valid because, you know, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time, and, you know, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, you know, whether or not, you know, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy, and they were saying that, you know, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him. That's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, oh, you know, nobody's above the law, I respect, you know, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that they're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. Listen, they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do that.
So we're mad at him because he changed his.
Oh no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning Hunter Biden.
But you sound like you're
mad. No.
Okay.
If I can get in on this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions
Yes, I
and the
understand all that.
impartiality of the
Yes.
Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. This same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does, but then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Explain to me?
Wow. This is the first time I'll probably ever say that I agree with Charlamagne, Leonard, and Alyssa Fair Griffin, okay? Because they're right. They're 100% right. Here's the thing, though. This is not the first time the Democrats have done this. I don't understand why there's so much backlash against Biden when there wasn't this amount of backlash when Democrats showed the world that, yeah, we don't believe in democracy when they overthrew Joe Biden. And I guess Kamala Harris got installed accidentally because apparently Pelosi and Obama, they didn't actually really want Kamala Harris. But just saying, when they overthrew Joe Biden, right, that is when Democrats showed, no, we actually really don't believe in democracy. When Democrats went out of their way to ignore the orders, the rulings from the Supreme Court, that's when they showed you, no, we actually really don't believe in our institutions. We don't believe in the judicial system, okay? And now they're basically showing with this pardon of Hunter Biden, we don't believe in the rule of law. But the thing is, before this pardon, Democrats were showing people that they don't believe in any of the things that they claim they believed in the first place, right? When these people want to talk about political violence, these are the same people that supported the Roe v. Wade riots and the BLM riots, overt political violence that benefited them. So I was never one of these people that had such a high standard for Democrats in the first place. This is why I wasn't surprised by what Joe did, and clearly it's hypocritical, but I'm still trying to figure out where was all this outrage when the Democrats overthrew Joe Biden, right, their own primary election. They decided not to have another one. After they rigged it, by the way, right, after they initially rigged it in Biden's favor, then they decided we don't want Biden anymore. They overthrew him, and they didn't have another primary. They didn't give voters the chance to decide who they want, but yet they're screaming about democracy. Again, these are the same people that have challenged every election they've lost since Bush. Right now, this time around, they're not really trying to challenge it because they know that the hypocrisy, again, would just be so stunning that they get backlash like this, right? Joe Biden just doesn't care anymore, right? And this is why a lot of Democrats are so mad at Joe Biden so overtly doing this. But again, what Charlamagne is saying here is that, no, you cannot say that you are the party of law and order, okay, that you believe in the rule of law, but yet you don't when it comes to your own family members, right? When it comes to protecting yourself. So you might as well stop pretending that you're something that you're not, because clearly it's not working. But the reason why Democrats do this, right, the reason why they try to win on the intangibles and the whole being above it all type of thing is because they can't win on the policy, right? They can't win when it comes to the actual issues that affect the American people on a daily basis. So that's why they try to win on the other stuff. And turns out that they have no room to criticize anybody when it comes to the so-called intangibles, character, rule of law, all these things they claim they believe in, but they obviously don't. And they were the reasons that they were giving people to vote for them over Trump. Hey, don't worry about inflation, the border, right? All these things you're worried about. No. And vote for us because we're just better people than Trump. That was their pitch. And it turns out that that's not the case, right? So what do they have? What do they have? What is the selling point now? There's no selling point. There's no selling point at all. And what makes this so bad is that this comes after years of gaslighting, right? In which, again, the media covered up for the gaslighting, okay? They try to make excuses for it. And after this election in which they lost, okay, I think people's tolerance for BS from the Democrats is non-existent, right? Like nobody has tolerance for this anymore. And I think that's what really makes this so bad, okay? So, yeah, I mean, when you got Charlamagne the God turning on you, okay, then you got a problem.
Is why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls. He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
has criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlamagne the God.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more. But you're missing my question. Okay. My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of think.
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm not delusional. Well, no, that is delusional. But when it comes, but when it comes to political parties, if you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
Why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
Why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are wrong.
So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I don't. And can I just point this out to you? The president has a part in power,
you're
right?
ridiculous.
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg. I would never. I said that. I just think that's
Think about it. Just think about it this way.
Ew. Oh my God. Okay, Charlamagne. Okay. This was my first time watching that. I didn't know that was coming at all. That was disgusting. I just want to throw up. Okay, but yeah, I mean, hey, it's hard for me to disagree with Charlamagne there. It's very simple. Democrats are wrong. They're clearly in the wrong. Joe Biden's wrong. And these people just refuse to acknowledge that, right? They just refuse to acknowledge reality that Biden is wrong. And that's exactly what Charlamagne was talking about, is that when you're just playing for a team like that and you refuse to acknowledge that, hey, this was wrong, then you can't point the finger at the other guy and say you're better than them, right? You know how they point the finger at Republicans that defend January 6th or say that January 6th wasn't wrong? Okay, you know how they do that? Well, you have no room to criticize those people on January 6th when look at what you're doing right now. Biden's clearly in the wrong and you're trying to pretend like it's not wrong when we all know that if the shoe was on the other foot, if Trump did something like this, if Trump pardoned his son after promising that he wouldn't do so, these people will be losing their minds, right? Again, they would be saying this is an example of Trump feeling like he's above the law, that the law doesn't apply to him. But when Biden does it, though, oh no, it's justified. They will make up every excuse in the book, including agreeing with Republicans that the DOJ is weaponized, right? The DOJ is weaponized politically in order to defend the indefensible. And like Charlamagne said, like Leonard said to their faces on The View, that's ridiculous, right? What you're saying is ridiculous. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.